So I put on some very solid fragrances throughout the week. So if you are curious on what fragrances I chose to wear, stay tuned to find out. Hey, what's going on guys? Hunter here and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new, what I do is I make fragrance related content. So if you love fragrances, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And also be sure to follow my fragrance Instagram page where I have been very active. But today guys, I'm bringing you another weekly fragrance rotation. I've been keeping these pretty consistent every single week and I hope you guys have been enjoying them. And if you are new to my series of weekly fragrance rotation, what we do in this video is we talk about what fragrances I chose to wear on each day, what kind of comments we got on that particular fragrance, the weather, and of course how many sprays I did. So let's start this week off on Sunday per usual. All right, so for Sunday, it was kind of a rainy, kind of a gloomy day, so I didn't really do much. I think I just kind of relaxed at home most of the day. But man, do I have a special fragrance for you guys. And this was actually the first time wearing this as well. And I'm so happy to have this in my collection. It is from Alexandria Fragrances. Of course, it's Forbidden Plum. Now, if you aren't familiar with the house of Alexandria Fragrances, they are a fragrance house that takes inspiration from other fragrances, and they also have their original creations as well too. So they kind of do both, which is awesome. And of course, Forbidden Plum is actually a interpretation of Tom Ford's Plum Japonais, which we all know has been discontinued for, I believe, a few years now. And that fragrance is just skyrocketed in price, very expensive to get your hands on now. And I've actually never smelled the original Plum Japonais. I wish I had, but man, oh man, I don't think I ever actually need to get that fragrance or seek out a bottle after having Forbidden Plum, guys. I'm telling you right now, this is just hands down phenomenal. I got a story to say about this one really quick. I did have a subscriber actually send me a sample or a decant of Forbidden Plum maybe a year or two ago. He's like, man, you gotta get your nose on this fragrance. It's incredible. So I did, and I fell in love with it at first sniff, guys. Ran through that entire sample or decant, and now, of course, I have a 100 ml bottle of Forbidden Plum. If you aren't familiar with the DNA, it's a very watery plum alongside some boozy, I think some tobacco as well in this composition. But yeah, so good, especially for the colder months, guys. I cannot wait to be rocking this one a ton during the fall and winter. But on that day, I did go 6 sprays. Got no compliments because I really wasn't around anybody. But yeah, guys, the performance of this stuff is stellar, nuclear stuff, guys. I'm telling you right now, it is like straight to pop from like the entire line from Alexandria Fragrances. And we actually have another one coming up later in the video. All right, so heading into Monday, guys, I was at home for most of the day. I think I did run some errands and things like that here and there. But it was also a gloomy, cloudy day, like in the high 70s, if I'm not mistaken. And the fragrance I chose for that day is actually Bentley's Beyond the Collection Majestic Cashmere, guys. Now, if you're not familiar with this line, this is actually Bentley's sort of more higher end line compared to the For Men line. And guys, I'm telling you right now, the 3 that I've tried are just so good. You can definitely tell Bentley put a lot of time and effort into this line from the quality of ingredients they used and just the way it comes across, guys. But Majestic Cashmere, I did go 3 sprays of this. Didn't really go too heavy on the trigger because I wasn't really around anybody. I was just chilling at home. And guys, I gotta say, this is just a very cozy, comforting fragrance. Hence the name, Majestic Cashmere. You do get a ton of that cloudy, warming cashmere note in here. And when I actually first got this, I was kind of expecting this to be more a niche version of Bentley for Men Intense, just by the juice color alone and the name. It doesn't really come across like that at all. It is a little bit smoother. It is a little bit more refined. It does sit a little bit closer to the skin as well too. But guys, I absolutely love this one, and it's definitely going to be heavy in my rotation during the fall time for sure. So heading into Tuesday, guys. Now, Tuesday we did have a little bit of a change of weather. It was extremely hot, sunny, clear skies, and almost 90 degrees on that day as well. And it was a perfect day to wear one of my newer fragrances in my collection and just perfect for the summertime, guys. Of course, I'm talking about the brand new launch from Tous. This is Tous Chill Man. And just take a look at that bottle gradient, guys. I think it looks incredible. Kind of has an old school feel to it. But man, with this fragrance, you do get a ton of lime, which of course works perfect in the summertime. Nice citrus, refreshing vibe to the fragrance. But also, hence the name Chill Man, there's something in this that actually gives it a cooling, kind of minty effect, where when you spray this on your skin, you actually feel that coolness during the hot weather, which is very, very refreshing. That's why I love to wear this one in the high heat, and I cannot wait for summer days to come to rock this one, guys. But On that day at work, I was actually at work for most of the day, and I only did 2 sprays of this stuff because I wanted to test out the projection and performance of it, because I did just review this as well. So I actually sprayed very far from my nose so I wouldn't go nose blind to it that fast. Because what I usually like to do when I'm testing fragrances, I either like to spray my wrist, like 1 or 2 sprays, or the back of my ankles, or back of my knees, I mean. Because that would be about 6 feet from my nose, and I can see how far it projects and how long I can actually detect the fragrance. And I gotta say, the performance is very good for being an EDT freshie fragrance, which most of the time usually don't perform that well. This one does not have a problem with. For the price you can get this at, like I said, at So Avant-Garde, definitely check them out with code FragHunter15. You get 15% off, and I think it is actually a pretty good bang for your buck, especially if you're looking for a summertime freshie that's not gonna smell like anything else that guys are wearing. So for Wednesday, I'm also at home. It was a cloudy day, but it was actually pretty warm. I think almost 90 degrees on that day as well. And I actually pulled out one of my most sentimental fragrances in my entire collection. I was just in the mood for it. Sometimes I just want to wear this one just to uplift my happiness and just put me in a better mood, and this one definitely does a trick. And of course, I'm talking about Versace's The Dreamer. Now, the iconic Versace The Dreamer, guys, this is either a love it or a hate it with people. A lot of people do not like this one, but a lot of people like myself absolutely adore it. But it is, I gotta say, probably the most interesting and unique fragrances from the house of Versace. This isn't really necessarily your crowd pleasing like Dylan Blue or Eros or Pour Homme. This is definitely more on the niche side of things, being kind of different and unique, I gotta say that. But in Versace The Dreamer, you do have a lavender note, which does kind of bring it a fougere quality, but you also get a ton of rose as well, and some tobacco, so it is pretty interesting with the notes at least. But they go 6 sprays of Versace The Dreamer, got no compliments because I really didn't do much. And this is also one of my favorite fragrances to wear to bed. And that's another thing, guys. Let me know down below if you guys wear any fragrances to sleep. I definitely do, and this is usually my go-to. And I think it's perfect, hence the name The Dreamer. It just puts me in my dreams and this makes me happy. But that's what I wore pretty much just to chill at home on Wednesday, is Versace The Dreamer. So for Thursday, I am also at work for most of the day. It was very hot. I think the hottest day of the week, I think it was like 92 degrees. Very sunny, scorching hot. And I actually chose to wear this one. This is actually from the same house as earlier in the week from, of course, Alexandria Fragrances. And I chose to wear Game Time by them, guys. Now, this one has gotten a ton of hype in the community for a very good reason. Imagine taking Baccarat 540 by Mason Francis Kurkdjian and Creed's Aventus and mixing those together, guys. And that's exactly what you get with Game Time. So, obviously get that burnt sugar, candy, sweetness from Baccarat and also the little bit of spiciness from the saffron. But you also get a smoky birch pineapple from Aventus in the composition. And just imagine putting those two together, and it just works absolutely perfectly. Now, I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of layering fragrances. Like, I wouldn't actually go out of my way to layer Aventus and Baccarat Rouge. But since Alexandria Fragrances combined them together for me and blended them the way they wanted to and made their own creation, I'm obsessed with Game Time, guys. And the performance for this one is just so good. Like I said earlier, it is also a straight to parfum, and I will be doing an overview of Game Time and Forbidden Plum probably later on in the week, so stay tuned for that if you want to hear a little bit more in-depth details of both of them. But I got no comments on that day. I did do 6 sprays, so a little bit heavier on the trigger as well. But I gotta say, guys, I was just so happy wearing this one. Looking forward to more wearings of Game Time in the near future. So yeah, that's what I chose to wear on Thursday. All right, so for Friday, I'm also at home for most of the day, and it was still another hot day in the 90s, or like low 90s if I'm not mistaken. And I chose to wear another cozy cashmere heavy fragrance, and of course I'm talking about Nishane's B-612, guys. Now, I was actually in the mood for a good fougere on Friday. So I was looking through my collection. I was like, what fougere do I want to pull out? And I just decided to go with B-612, guys. Now, if you caught my review of this one, this was definitely not a love at first sniff. But I gotta say, guys, this one completely grew on me, especially after knowing the story behind it. Of course, the Little Prince novel, if you guys aren't familiar with that, it's a classic novel story. And that's exactly what it's based off of. Obviously, you can see it from the stars on the bottle. And of course, B-612, I think, was the asteroid of the Little Prince, if I'm not mistaken about that either. I actually have not read that one, but with this, of course, you do get a ton of lavender. I get some cypress in here, which gives it a very green earthiness. But another dominant player is that cashmere and the dry down, which is like a cloud. It's very cozy, like you're wrapped up in a cashmere sweater or blanket. That's exactly how this comes across, guys. But for Friday, I did go 3 sprays, no compliments, because I really wasn't doing much on that day. Fantastic launch from Nishane, and I definitely want to get some more in my collection and review for you guys. So yeah, that's what I decided to wear on Friday. All right, so for Saturday, I actually did have quite a lot of things going on. Earlier in the day, I did actually go out shopping to like rag stores, TJ Maxx, Burlington. And I got to shout out somebody if you're actually watching this, because I ran into a fellow frag head at Burlington. We started chatting up fragrances and stuff like that. And he told me he has around 200 bottles. I was like, whoa, man, so you're heavy into this as well. Talked about YouTube, things like that. He watched some reviewers. I told him about my channel. So shout out to you, brother, if you are watching this. That is awesome to run into a fellow frag head, because there's not many of us. But my scent of the day for that day was actually Tom Ford's Costa Azzurra, guys. I don't know why, but I was just kind of leaning towards this one. It was also somewhat of a sunny day. I think it was in the high 80s, not quite as hot as earlier in the week, but I did go 6 sprays of Costa Azzurra. And I gotta say, this just reminds me of being on a vacation, somewhere very fancy, somewhat tropical. You just get that vibe with this one. Kind of like if you're out at dinner, by a beach. That is exactly what Costa Azzurra reminds me of, guys. But on that day, like I said, 6 sprays. I got no compliments from Costa Azzurra. Later on in the evening, I actually went live for almost 4 hours. We had TLTG reviews, Ross in the house on that live stream. We also had George Zaharoff. It was a surprise guest later on in that live. So if you guys missed that one, definitely go back and rewatch it. We had a phenomenal time. George dropped some scoop on some upcoming releases from Zaharoff, and also some information about the business and stuff like that, and what's going on with increasing the prices of fragrances. But yeah, be sure to check that out. We had a phenomenal time. And yeah, so yeah, that's what I chose to wear to wrap off the week on Saturday is Costa Azzurra, guys. And that's going to do it for the video. As always, let me know down below what you guys chose to wear throughout the week. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, and I'll see all you guys in the next upload. Take care, everybody.